This is Twit.
Google Fit got an update, and yes, it brings the dark theme, just like everything else. That dark theme will actually, in Android Q, switch from what I understand based on the system-wide dark theme setting. So this is yet another Google app that ties into that. But they've also included detailed sleep logging. I think they had some basic sleep logging capabilities in there before, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I did that. Actually, the Samsung Watch review that dialed into that. I think I reviewed partially I used that for sleep tracking, and some of that data went into Google Fit, but now they've upgraded the sleep chart. It integrates with the third-party sleep tracking apps to bring the data more cohesively into Google Fit. Now, your main tab will show your wakes along with steps, heart rate, and weight counts, and then new charts that detail weekly, monthly, yearly stats on when you start and stop sleeping and for how long. And I don't know, I don't do a whole lot of tracking of, like fitness tracking or data of my own personal, everyday life or whatever. For whatever reason, when I was using that watch, I found sleep tracking to be really interesting. It's just interesting to see, to wake up the next day and be like, man, I had a really bad night's sleep. And then to be able to look at the data and be like, oh, yeah, I definitely had a bad night of sleep. Look at that, There's nothing good there. So I guess it's good news that Google Fit has that.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about this because I'm a terrible sleeper. Mm-hmm. So I've been systematically going through a lot of different types of tech to help me figure out how to have a beautiful, uninterrupted night of sleep. And one of the things that I would love, and that a lot of these, the Withings Pad is the one I'm using right now, I can't make notes. Right? Like if I had a good night's sleep, I can't say didn't have any wine, right? Went for a run. Like I could drank enough water, right? So I've started to identify things that I don't sleep well if I'm a little bit dehydrated, right? So keeping track of all of these things, like when I had a good night's sleep and didn't, that's often not possible with a lot of these sleep tracking services, even if it's their dedicated task. But Google's Fit allows for that. So when I saw this news in the rundown, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty exciting. Maybe I can start to identify personally different trends for how I get a better night's sleep. So I like this news. Big fan.
Interesting. So I'm looking up. I've heard of the Withings sleep tracking pad. And how long have you been using this? And what do you think about it overall?
So it's a pad that goes under your mattress. So you lift up your mattress and then you put the pad down, because I don't like wearing a watch if I'm going to get a tan. Like you think I'm going to want to wear a watch to bed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I like it because it's not intrusive. But I didn't have it installed correctly, and because I'm single, I can sleep wherever I want on the bed. Right? So,
yeah.
Nice.
So sometimes it's you only got 2 hours sleep. I'm like, that's not true. I know for a fact.
I know that's not true.
Great night's sleep last night, right? But then I realized I was on the wrong side of the bed, right? So then I had to start adjusting the pad to be more central.
Yeah.
I like it, but I would like to be able to add notes or for it to ask me more questions about did you exercise today? Which is why the Google Fit aspect of this is really interesting for me, because a lot of these apps don't have a holistic system. Like for the Wii thing, I'd have to get the watch, the scale, and the pad, right? Mm-hmm. And you can use a mishmash of whatever, and it all goes into Google. So you can start to, so for me, I like that I can kind of switch different tech that I'm trying to get a better night's sleep, and then kind of have it all funnel into one place so I can, just keep track of all the data. One of the interesting things that I'm doing right now is, that Lenovo smart clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a huge sleep sanitation device where I'm trying to remove all of the tech from my bedroom and just have the clock. But I mean, Google's assistant, it really isn't good enough, right? It's not quite good enough for me to take my phone away. So I'm struggling still to kind of figure out what the correct sort of like mashup of technology is for me to optimize my sleep. But I think that this is a really good step that at least Google's saying, hey, we'll take the data. You can at least make your own notes on it, even if the whatever service you're using doesn't allow that. And it's at least one place for you to keep it all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's interesting what you're saying as far as like tracking your sleep and wanting to be able to track more contextual information around that. Like, did I have a glass of wine or did I just stay up too late or whatever, and not being able to track that. To me, that seems like the point. Like, what is the point of tracking my sleep if I can't take a look at it and understand? Like, it's one thing to look at the data and go, yeah, I had a bad night of sleep. See, I had a bad night of sleep. And I feel like I had a bad night of sleep, and here's the data to prove it. But it's another thing to use that data and be like, okay, well, what can I gain from that? Can I couple it with this information that tells me, oh, I always have a bad night of sleep when I drink 2 glasses of wine. Maybe I should drink 1 glass of wine. Maybe that would help, or no glasses, or whatever the case may be. So anyway,
did you have a cup of coffee past 4
right,
o'clock?
That's a biggie. Yeah.
Right. Like that's a really big one. I just feel like a lot of these apps aren't really taking a look at my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to ask. Like, how many cups did you have a day? Did you drink enough water? Like, what did you eat? Like, maybe like you ate too much salt and then you're dehydrated. Right. I've been trying to make sense of this. So like any app that will take as much third-party data and pull it into one place, I'm a huge fan of, because I think it gives me a better shot of at least me being able to figure it out. Because I don't think I haven't found a company that's been able to help me solve my crappy sleeping problems.
Yeah. But then there is such a thing also, at least in my mind, is going too far when it comes to data accumulation. Because you could go totally down the rabbit hole and want to log everything, and that just takes forever. And that's kind of a pain in the butt. And
then what can you do with it once you have that data? That's the thing. Is like you can get into analysis paralysis, to a certain degree with this stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Technology is supposed to make it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. There has to be a line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.